So hello everyone and welcome. The second episode of the Magia record anime has aired, so let's go in there and see what actually happened in the episode. Was it good, was it bad? And don't worry, this is the non-spoiler review. I'm going to do a second video following this one up, where I do talk about all the spoiler stuff, so I can compare it to the game as well after that. So we start out this episode, we see a flashback to kind of what we saw at the end of the episode 1, where we see, okay, Iroha has remembered her sister, she has remembered her being in the hospital, she has remembered her wish. We kind of see a callback to that just to make sure that people who either didn't quite see episode 1 on the same day in the future, or maybe they kind of forgot what happened, they kind of get a little bit of a flashback, and then we can go right back in with Iroha talking to Kyubei about what's going on, and Kyubei is like, whoa, magic or something is going on, which doesn't help much. Although Kyubei might be like, oh, is it even true that you even had a sister? And Iroha's like, yeah, sure. So Iroha does some googling, so she must be pretty good with her phone, I guess. And she finds out she needs to go to the Satomi Medical Center, which is in Kamihama. So she goes, yep, just gonna head right over to Kamihama. She tries to get Kurue to join, but she doesn't pick up the phone. She tries to call her 3 times, but she never actually picks up. I'm certain we'll see some of that in some later episodes and what's going on there, but for now, we're gonna have to head off without Kurue. So instead we see Iroha taking the bus, and we see some of the passengers, and she's like, oh man, people are happy in this bus. I hope nothing bad happens to the people in this bus, since they are so nice and not doing anything bad. But nope, they of course get attacked by a witch. Funny thing is, we actually see witch runes already on the bus as it arrives, and it means to Rebecca, by the way. So all the people that got witch kissed, they run over to some barrier that got opened up, I think, on the back of a motorcycle. It doesn't really matter where exactly it opened up, but Iroha is just like, well, witches be crazy, so she heads in and tries to fight the witch, which is the sheep witch Rebecca. We also see, by the way, her minions, I think they're called Oscar. But before Iroha can show what amazing new abilities she has learned since episode 1, where she just stood there and fired for the entire episode, we see another magical girl actually appear, and it's the most pitiful magical girl of all. It's Kaide. And Kaine runs away from the witch and is like, well, witches be crazy, we can't fight this one. This one is too strong. So she runs away, and Iroha runs away as well, because I guess Iroha isn't gonna try and even fight it if Kaide says nope. But then Iroha is like, wait a second, it's people, we need to save the people. And Kaide is like, what? And of course they get blindsided and absolutely destroyed, but it's okay, because the hero has arrived, and they have like a 5-second shot of her butt for some reason. But it's okay, because she's gonna save the day. We're not alone, because we also have the tsundere queen of this franchise. Reina is gonna appear as well, and they're gonna do what we call in the game a connect. They do a connect, and we see Momoko sprint forward. They didn't even need to do this in the actual anime, because they don't ever do a connect in the story, but yeah, whatever. So Momoko charges forward with water magic, and she uses a strong attack fueled with water, and it seems like it actually destroyed the witch, but then it didn't, and the witch is totally fine, and the witch actually does an attack back at the 2 most pitiful characters in the room, Kaide and Iroha, and they get completely blindsided once again. Iroha, can you actually fight at all? Anything? Is your fight strategy to just stand there and look like you're gonna fight, but then just end up getting whooped? Well, hopefully that's gonna change someday. But it's okay, because the 2 of them wake up again, or rather we see Iroha wake up again in a completely different place. This is the adjuster's place, or the coordinator's place. I don't know how they put it in the subs. But this is the adjuster's place, where the adjuster is not actually home right now. We don't actually see the adjuster in this episode, which sucks, because he's a great character. But it's okay. I guess they didn't want to put too many new characters into one episode. They say, okay, we already have 3 new characters, so whatever. She's just not home for some reason. So all of them have a little bit of a talk, and they're like, hey, witches in Kamihama are like really strong, you shouldn't be heading out alone. And Iroha is like, well, but I have to head alone, because I need to find info on my sister, who is probably gonna have some info waiting in the hospital. So they're like, okay, we can help you out, I guess. At least Momoko is like, we're gonna help you out, but everyone else is like, or rather Kaide has like no opinion on anything, because Kaide just tags along with whatever Momoko is saying. And then I was like, actually, why would we do that? Why would we just randomly help someone else? And Momoko's like, because we're the good guys, and good guys help each other, right? So of course they end up trying to help Iroha, but first off, Iroha is gonna go off alone. And by the way, before Iroha goes off, we see the shot of the bags that they have, and we see they have all of this. They have this like keychain of this bear mascot, I think like Mocha bear, I think it's called. And that's pretty much the end of that scene. So we see then that Iroha goes to the Satomi Medical Center. She's like, hey, do you have info on Ui? And they're like, Ui, who even is that? Is that even a name? Sounds weird. And Iroha has to go away. But it's okay, because we're heading off to McDonald's. I mean, they're heading off to Gosh Burger. Or Gage Burger, I don't know how you would pronounce that. But we see, for some reason, Momoko is suddenly an asshole. Why is Momoko suddenly an asshole? Oh, it's because it wasn't actually Momoko, it was Reina in disguise. More on why Reina is repeatedly transforming in this episode in the spoiler review. So then all of them sit down again, and we're gonna have them talk some more because we didn't get enough talking. There's a lot of talking in this episode, but you know, we're gonna have to get through the talking at some point because we can't just have action all the time. We can't just have mystery and all of the other stuff. We gotta just have a sit down at some point and just introduce some new characters. So this is what's gonna happen in this episode and also in this scene. We're introducing these characters some more by having them do what they always do. So this team is called Team Kamore, or Team KMR. Kamore because it's Kaede, Momoko, and Reina Kamore. And they also have another nickname, which is Team Terrible Life Choices. And we see just how terrible the life choices are, because they're supposed to be a really good team, but they fight all the time. So Reina is like, I'm tsundere, and Kaede is like, but why? And Reina is like, I hate you. And then Kaede is like, I hate you too. And then they're like, we hate each other. And then they start crying and run away, and everyone hates each other. And Momoko, seeing all of this, is like, why am I even putting up with this? Well, just another day for Team Terrible Life Choices, but it's okay, because this is normal, I guess. So Iroha is like, well, that sucked. What do we do now? Well, the idea was that Reina was going to go into the hospital and gather some info for Iroha, because Reina can transform into other people, so she could have just transformed into a nurse and gather info, but instead we're going to have to deal with the uwasa of the friendship ending staircase. I'm just going to call it the breakup staircase. Momoko tells Iroha about the breakup staircase, which is the uwasa, or the rumor. I don't know if they're going to translate that word or not. And the rumor says that if two good friends break up with each other and they say we're not friends anymore, and they carve their names into, or at least one of them carves both of their names into the breakup staircase, that means that their friendship is officially over. But if the two of them then try to reconcile, even though their friendship is over and they've put their names on the staircase, then they will be whisked away by the uwasa, by the rumor, and they just disappear. We don't know what happens to them, they just disappear. That's the rumor of the breakup staircase. It's the rage in all of Kamehama. Everyone's talking about it. Who have you heard it from? Did you hear? So after all of that, we see this menacing shot of Yachio just being cool and awesome, and totally not being the actual protagonist of this entire series, because yes, I did see the ED, the ending. That is all about Yachio, yay. I'm gonna have my own video about just the ending, by the way, as well. So now, the next day, I think it's the next day, happened, and it turns out Reina is missing, or not missing, she's just being a tsundere and doesn't want to talk to her friends anymore. So they go to the place where she usually hangs out, which is the arcade, and they bump into Ren. Oh, but it's not actually Ren, it's someone who has this weird bag keychain, and the keychain is of this bear, and it's not just the bear, it also has the Sayu Sayu keychain on it as well. Where did we see this before? This bear and the Sayu Sayu keychain, where did we see that before? It's okay. We know that these are actually the keychains of Team Kamore. So Kaede figures it out instantly. Reina runs away, transforms a bit more. I'm gonna talk more about why she does that in the spoiler review, because it's actually kind of spoilery to talk, or at least it's about Reina's backstory, why she repeatedly transforms all the time. But we see her then try to make up with Kaede. I mean, it doesn't look like they're both trying to make up with each other. It really just looks like Kaede is just shouting at Reina to be like, hey, let's be friends again. But Reina is just standing there like, yeah, well, I kind of want to say yes, but at the same time, I'm a tsundere, so I can't say yes. Because I'm the tsundere, and that's basically her entire character, but it's okay, it's okay. What happens though is, because they're trying to reconcile the minions of the Uwasa of the breakup staircase or something appears, and they're all like, no, you have triggered the Uwasa, so now we're gonna take you away because you're not friends anymore, and they get taken away. And we get this menacing shot of their names being notched into the breakup staircase, and that's where the episode ends. And then we get the ending, and the ending card, which is drawn by Sasaki Koji, who is known in the community as the ass and tits man, because all of his shots, literally all of his shots, are the ass and tits pose where they just have a broken spine. Well, we know who this character is, but I'm gonna tell you who this character is, because why would I? I'm just for the spoiler review. If you want to see who that character is, go to the spoiler review. But yeah, this has been the second episode. What do I think about the episode? In my opinion, it is a rather noticeable step down from the first episode, but it is kind of expected, because the first episode was about setting up the world, it was about setting up the main character, getting you to know the world, or rather how the characters fit into the world, what is actually going on in there, what would the conflict maybe be about that we are going to deal with in Magia Record. And now that we have set all of that up and even had a bit of mystery hunting going on, now we're just trying to introduce new characters. So this is basically what this entire episode was about. We're introducing 3 new characters, how all of these three characters relate to each other, what they have to do with the actual rest of the story, how that fits in. We're gonna have to introduce what Uwasa are, what rumors are. So we're just trying to introduce a whole bunch of new stuff, and that's basically why this episode feels a bit slow. And like it doesn't, like not that much stuff actually happens in this episode. But like I said, they kind of have to do this, because what else are they gonna do? And it kind of reminds me of the initial few episodes of Madoka Magica as well, where I would say the first few episodes of Madoka Magica, compared to the rest of the entire show, were a bit slow, as in not that much stuff actually happened, and they spent a lot of time just telling the audience what is actually going on in this world, how does the world function. So they're kind of doing the same thing here again, where you're like, okay, we're taking it slow, because we're gonna have to tell the audience what is actually going on. So behind that backdrop, if you do know that this is kind of what they have to do, it's like, yeah, okay, I guess it's fine. But it still sucks that the episode was a bit slow. So, yeah, I'm just hoping that, especially next episode, we're gonna see a whole bunch of cool stuff, and then a whole bunch of great, awesome, amazing stuff is gonna happen. So we're gonna see more action. Like, it might sound like, hey, I just want more action. I kind of don't want too much action, because then it's all just going to be about the action and no one cares about the characters and the actual conflict anymore. But at the same time, this episode had like 2 scenes of 3 characters or 4 characters just talking about something that we kind of, for the most part, know about, with only a bit more new information. And it did kind of drag on a little bit, but at least because it's a Shaft anime, it looked nice, I guess, because there was a whole lot of crazy stuff going on in the background that you can see all the time. So for the most part, it's like, okay, whatever, let's just move on to the next episode. It was fine. It was fine. So yeah, that was that. See you guys for the spoiler review, the differences video. And if you want to see more, subscribe. Yay.